Happy New Year's my damies, TOPDOG here and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to explore the forgotten strength of our Stasis Hunter, the Shatter Dive. This was once feared in the Crucible, but I want to see just how potent it could be inside PvE. Stasis has some really awesome avenues of offering us easy champ stuns, with damage only second to the Solar Grenade, and it can be used often as both an offensive and defensive tool. However, if we want to Shatter Dive, we need to invest in it with both your aspects and fragments. You're going to want Touch of Winter aspect to give your grenade that extra functionality. This changes the formation of our Glacier Grenade from that traditional line of crystals to that of a hexagonal formation. This has a hole in the center of it, and it will give you the best damage when you have your enemy trapped inside of it. And Whisper of Fishes is mandatory for any shatter based build. This increases the damage and the size of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. We want this to mainly buff our Shatter Dive, but it will also buff our melees, supers and weapon damage also. With those four essentials set up, we can now compare it to our grenade lineup. And first at the bat is the Solar Grenade. At 220k, it can deliver twice that damage of all other grenades in the game. However, this is damage over time, and a certain amount of positioning is required to hit this number, with about 40% of the damage coming from both Scorch and Ignitions. Vortex only deals half of that at 110,000 over 8 seconds, but it can debuff with Weaken so the entire fire team can benefit. The Storm Grenade is also 110,000, but as it tracks, its damage is very consistent, but it does have a really high cooldown. The Pulse Grenade also does marginally less damage at 96,000, but it does have a lot better cooldown, so it's generally going to give you more damage over, say, a damage phase. The Fusion Grenade is the closest to our Shatter Dive, as it does fairly direct and relatively immediate damage at 106,000, and this has around a 30-second cooldown. Our Glacial Nade does 110,000, it's immediate damage, but its cooldown is even quicker than the Fusion. But it's about the functionality on top of that damage that I really appreciate the most. Freezes and Suspension are the same sides of the same coin. They both hit that pause button and work well against champs, particularly unstops. The difference is Glacial actually delivers damage too, and the subclass boasts some of the best cooldowns. With Whisper of Shards, when shattering a stasis crystal, we temporarily boost our grenade recharge rate. At base, this is a 500 additional grenade regeneration for 6 seconds, but this can be extended by breaking further crystals. With Whisper of Torment, you can gain grenade energy each time you take damage from targets. This is a 4% grenade bump every second, and a 16.7% boost when your shields are broken. This results in an extremely high uptime, and I can have a grenade back in just 12 seconds, without even getting a kill. And with Whisper of Chains, we can use this defensively too, not just as a physical object like separating us, but while we are near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, we take reduced damage from targets. This is a 40% damage resist whilst we are within 10 meters of a stasis crystal. With this kit we get fairly aggressive, so we'll want that resistance. We throw out and slam those crystals. In the artifact we've got Dragon's Bite. When breaking a combatant's shield with a stasis weapon, we have a chance to freeze a combatant. Hail of the Storm, when we shatter encased targets or stasis crystals, we deal increased damage. Shattering stasis crystals releases shards of ice that damage and slow targets. And Pillar of Ice, when defeating an encased combatant, this spawns a stasis crystal. With this much ice on the field, we have access to damage resist and grenade cooldown whenever we want it. This build cycle is pause, destroy and DR. So the best weapon to run was undoubtedly the conditional finality. In a season all about Radiant, Scorch, Ignitions and Shatter, there really couldn't be a more cohesive weapon. And it's great when dueling mages, mini bosses and champs. And with Torch, Whilst Radiant, we deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by stasis debuffs. I threw it out there to my mates and a few of you on the channel, what exotic will work best with shatter damage on our hunter. Mask of Bacchus could offer us a good escape route after we shatter dive. Unfortunately, it has a pretty bad cooldown, resulting in more grenade uptime than dodge uptime. Wormhusk works, but that really works anywhere on any subclass. A couple of you suggested the Lucky Pants, but I'm generally using my ice to unstop, so I don't really require a bow or hand cannon to do so. So I landed on the Aeon Swifts. To me, where I found the Shatter Dive the most successful was in team scenarios like GMs dealing with champions. Sect of Insight is already well known for feeding the team special and heavy ammo, but I've been liking Sect of Force. This now marks champions, elites and mini bosses. Marked targets receive 20% more damage from our allies. I mark whenever I stun, or simply by getting rapid precision hits. So both my Shatter Dive and my shotgun have unstops covered, but our Stasis Hunter also has the easiest and cheapest overload too. Withering Blade slows upon damage. This got buffed this season. This now goes 10% faster, goes 10% further, has a third bounce and increased tracking. And with Gambler's Dodge, all we need to do is dodge near a foe, and we've got another shuriken ready to overload with. But my number one stunner is actually the Adhorative. We've got Overload Pulse in the artifact this season, and it's solar and got some very interesting support options that make it shine. We've got Disruption Break. When we break a combatant shield with this weapon, this makes them more vulnerable to kinetic damage. If enhanced, this is a 50% weapon bonus for 6 seconds. And it also has a very interesting origin trait called Nano Munitions. This makes it one of the best weapons for reapplying Overload Stun. Monarch generally is considered the top dog in this regard, as it has poison that lingers, so we're always doing damage. Nano Munitions works similar to that of Rewind Rounds. Being near allies slowly builds up and partially emergency ammo refill for the next time this weapon runs out of ammo. This weapon always loops 9 rounds continuously, so as long as we have an ally by our side, we never run out of rounds. In the artifact, we've got Flint Striker with rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows. We are granted Radiant. So now, with any solar heavy weapon, we can break barrier shields. So this Shatter build has become a powerful support class, but one that we can still get in there and mix it up. Feel free to pause here for my mods, build, and artifact, but I'll make sure to leave a dim link in the description below. Please smash that thumbs if you care to. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to sub it if you're new, and until next time, tippy time my damies, what a tie.